Good morning. We will pay attention to the subsidiary ledgers today. The subsidiary ledgers consist of a debtors ledger and a creditors ledger. In the debtors ledger, you will open an account for each one of your debtors, and all their entries will be entered in their individual accounts. At the end of the day, the balance will be calculated to determine what is the outstanding amount so that you know exactly how much they owe and if they can buy more on credit. In the creditors ledger, accounts will be opened for each one of the creditors, and the individual entries of each creditor will be recorded in his individual account. The debtors ledger will be recorded in exactly the same way as the debtors control, increasing debtors on the debit side and decreasing them on the credit side. In the creditors ledger, we will increase on the credit side and decrease on the debit side. We will first pay attention to the debtors ledger. W. Winter owes $12,400 and S. Summer owes $2,400 at the end of the previous month. In the account of S. Summer, we will indicate that on the first day of the current month, account was already rendered to him, or we already sent him an account to indicate that he owes $2,400. You can also call this a balance. In the account of W. Winter, we will start with the account rendered on the 1st of R12,400. Debtors is an asset and will therefore increase on the debit side and decrease on the credit side. In the debtors journal, we sold goods to W. Winter for $11,900. So it means that we have to indicate in his personal account that his account increased on the 2nd with this $11,900, and we have to indicate the source document as invoice number 423 that was issued to him. The debtor increases on the debit side. We issued an invoice to him on the 2nd, invoice number 423. This entry is posted from the debtors journal and will increase with $11,900 on the debit side. After the invoice was recorded, we will calculate what is the outstanding balance, taking $12,400, adding $11,900, and that increases his outstanding balance to $24,300. On the 10th, we issued invoice number 424 to Summer for R1,800. We will indicate in his personal account that the entry was completed on the 10th. Invoice 424 were issued to him. This is transferred from the debtors journal and it increases his debt with $1,800. His outstanding balance will now be $2,400 plus the $1,800, and that gives us $4,200. It's very important to indicate the source document and the number of the source document in case there's queries in the future, that it's easy to trace this document for reference purposes. On the 17th, we issued invoice 425 to P. Herbs for R1,500. Every time we post this amounts to the accounts of the debtors, we will indicate the debtors account number in your debtors journal to indicate that the amounts in the sales column was posted to their accounts. The account of P. Herbs will be debited with $1,500. His outstanding balance will now be $1,500. He didn't have an outstanding balance at the end of the previous month, but we sold goods to him on the 17th of May, issued invoice 425, and this was posted from your debtors journal. In the Debtors Allowances Journal, we issued a credit note to S. Summer on the 14th, 420 Rand, and that was credit note number 33. And we issued credit note number 34 on the 24th to P. Harps, 300 Rand. These amounts will be posted to the credit side of the accounts to reduce their outstanding debt, and we will record in our allowances journal the folio numbers of the debtors in the debtors ledger. In the account of P. Harps, we will indicate that we issued a credit note 24 to him on the 24th. This was posted from the Debtors Allowances Journal, and it must decrease his account because he owes less money, so his account will be credited, and then I will work out the closing balance taking 1,500 minus the 300, and that will give me 1,200 Rand. In the cash receipts journal, we received money from S. Summer, W. Winter, and P. Harps. When we receive money to indicate that they paid their accounts, it will be recorded in the debtors control column. So we will only record entries in the debtors control column in our debtors ledger, and we will show that we've issued invoice 147, 148, and 149 to them for the different amounts. Because we posted to their accounts, we will show their ledger account numbers, and their accounts will be credited to decrease the outstanding amounts. We will credit the account of W. Winter on the 19th. We issued receipt number 148 to him, posted from the cash receipts journal, will decrease his account on the credit side, and his balance will reduce from 24,300 with 8,000 to 16,300. The account of P. Harps, we will show on the 28th that we issued receipt 149 to him. We're posting this entry from the cash receipts journal to the credit side of his account to reduce his account from 1,200 with 600 to a new outstanding balance of 600 Rand. The account of Blom Traders will be decreased on the 12th with receipt number 147 posted from the cash receipts journal. We decrease his account on the credit side, and the balance will decrease from 4,200 to 1,800. And we also issued a credit note to him that's posted from the Debtors Allowances Journal to the credit side of his account. His account will decrease from 1,800 with 120 Rand to 1,680. At the end of the month, we will record the closing balances in the debtors ledger in a debtors list to determine what is the total amount that the debtors owe. So for S. Summer owes 1,680. W. Winter owes 16,300, and P. Harps owes 600 Rand. In the debtors list, we will indicate what is the outstanding amounts at the end of the month, add these amounts to determine what is the total amount, and then we will compare this total amount with the balance in your debtors control account. And if we made no mistakes, these two should be exactly the same. The reason why they are the same is that the total sales, total credit notes, total receipts are posted to the debtors control account. So the debtors control account is basically a summary of all the entries in the individual accounts of your debtors. According to the Creditors Journal, we bought goods on the 8th of May from Olivetti stores. The invoice number was changed to number 367 for 3,600 Rand. We will post this entry to our creditors account C1 and indicate that the creditor owes us more money. Creditors is increased on the credit side and decreased on the debit side because a creditor is a liability. Olivetti stores had an outstanding amount of 5,270 Rand at the beginning of the month for account that we already received from them at the end of April. On the 8th, invoice 367 will increase this amount with 3,600 from 5,270 plus the 3,600 to 8,870. According to the cash payments journal, we paid money to Olivetti stores on the 15th with check number 179, 5,250 that will be posted to their account C1. On the 15th, check number 179 that was posted from the cash payments journal will decrease the debt with 5,270 to an outstanding amount of 3,600. According to the creditors journal, goods were purchased on the 20th from Olivetti with invoice 369, 4,900 that will increase the outstanding amount. On the 27th, the credit note was changed to number 72 to reduce their account with 250 Rand. The 20th invoice 369, according to the creditors journal, will increase the account of the creditor with 4,900 plus 3,600 is the outstanding amount 8,500. On the 22nd, goods were returned and a credit note was received that will decrease the account with 250 Rand from 8,500 to 8,250. And on the 23rd, a check was issued to settle the full account of 8,250. So any purchases will be recorded on the credit side of the individual account of the creditor. Payments to creditors will decrease the amounts on the debit side, and if there are credit notes, it will decrease the accounts on the debit side. The outstanding balances in the creditors ledger will be posted to the creditors list to determine what is the total amount that's outstanding to creditors at the end of the month. Olivetti, the full amount was paid. Protea stores, we owe 12,340, and Solomon Traders, we owe 9,070. If we add this up, it gives us a total debt of 21,410. And if we compare this with the creditors control account in the general ledger, we will see that it is the same balance. It must be the same balance because the creditors control is a summary of all the total purchases, total returns, and total payments, while the individual amounts was posted to the individual accounts of our creditors. What did we learn? Entries of the debtors are recorded in the individual accounts of the debtors in the debtors ledger. Sales are recorded on the debit side to increase the outstanding amount. Debtors' allowances and receipts from debtors will be recorded on the credit side to decrease the outstanding amount of the debtor. In the creditors' ledger, the entries of the creditors are recorded in the individual accounts of the creditors in the creditors' ledger. Purchases are recorded on the credit side to increase the outstanding amount that is owed to the creditors. Creditors' allowances and payments to creditors are recorded on the debit side to decrease the outstanding amount owed to creditors.